Hey Lions fans, welcome into another edition of the Coaches Show. We're here with national champion and NAIA Coach of the Year, Coach Stutts. And Coach, has it sunk in yet?
Hasn't sunk in yet. Okay. It's sinking, but we're gonna hold on to it for as long as we can. It's definitely a special feeling and something you don't know if it's going to happen again. So while it's here, we're going to enjoy it.
Okay.
I kind of jokingly said this in one of the interviews I've done recently, and like when we got back to Freed-Hardeman the next morning, I went to the bull market here in town. And I was just picking up like a drink and getting some gas in my vehicle, and like 3 people in town that I had no idea who they were stopped me and they said, "Man, we were watching that game, like congratulations." And that's where it just kind of starts sinking in, like you're going to be a national champion forever.
Right.
There's a lot of things a lot of successes that we have, but that's such a rare one. And I don't know if there's anything special about us other than we just found a way to get it done. But that part of it, just hearing all the congratulations from so many different people has definitely been unique and very fulfilling.
Yeah. So what was your favorite memory, not basketball play, what was your favorite memory of the things that surrounded the tournament?
That's a good question. I think just the experience that you get to have with the players. Obviously my family was able to make the trip, my wife, my 3 kids. Just so many small things where you think, man, these are the days. This is something we're going to be looking back on for the next 20 years and say, man, I remember that play or us going to eat here or doing this. And so, Deacon has a passion for basketball, my 8-year-old son, and so him getting to experience a lot of that. But then even Roman, my older son, getting up on the ladder and cutting down the net, and Parker being in the interview with me post-game or after the game. Those things, obviously the basketball side of it is fulfilling and a lot of fun. But to be able to do it with my kids, my parents, my wife, sisters. So many. Basically, my entire family was there, and so them being there for it makes it extra special, and you just know you're creating memories that will last a lifetime.
Yeah. So what about? I'll ask the other question. What was your favorite basketball play? I know you don't want to pick a favorite person or something like that, but from the whole tournament, you had 6 games here.
Yeah, if there's one play, and there's a lot of them, because there was a lot of key plays in us continuing to play. Central Baptist game, we won that game pretty handily, but the other 3 were, close games the entire time. Probably just one play that stands out to me, though, is Peyton Law hitting a 3 right in front of our bench late in the Grace game.
To go up 6 with under a minute left. Yeah.
So I can't remember if it was JJ or Quan. JJ or Quan, one drove it, kicked it to him. He was right there in front of our bench, and I was standing right behind him. And Peyton Law, if you don't know his story, his dad's had cancer this year. It's been a rough year for their family.
Mm-hmm.
Usually his mom, dad, sometimes brother, they're almost always at as many games as they can make. He's 5 or 6 hours from home, and his dad wasn't able to attend a game until the conference tournament. And Peyton, on top of that, broke his hand about 6 weeks ago. So he's been playing with a fractured hand with basically like a splint that's wrapped up.
Yeah, we saw the tape.
And, for him to step up in that game in that moment and hit that shot that almost shut the door on probably what was one of the best teams in the nation this year, you just felt it. You just felt it for him, and I couldn't have been more happy and proud of him in that moment. And that's probably the one play that stands out the most.
There's an underrated one, too, that I felt like really changed the momentum, because the Point Park game at home was sort of close and back and forth until Geraldo dunked on the tall guy.
Yeah.
And then we ended up winning by 17, 18, whatever it was. But little things like that early in the tournament changed momentum, too.
What's crazy about that play is, and I don't know if you've heard this story, but I wish sometimes people were filming us a little more closely, because it's fun to just see the gamesmanship and the players talking about certain things. But in the huddle, literally one possession before that, I told Geraldo, he kind of went in there a possession or 2 before and was trying to kind of dodge and get around this big guy. He's almost 7 foot long, athletic guy. I said, just take that ball right through his chest. I said, next time you get a chance, I don't care if you miss it or make it. You just go right on his head and try to put the ball in the rim. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And everybody was, obviously the momentum shifted in a big way when he did that. But yeah, just explosive play. And
well, there was a Saturday game, and Saturday crowds at Freed are always a little bit less intense, less excited, and that really woke everybody up. The baseball team wasn't there at that game, and so that was one that stuck out to me. And then the other one, the free throw rebound versus the Masters, right? Where I told some people it was like a glitch in the Matrix, right? Like they just stood still, and all of a sudden Quan had the ball again.
Yeah. Well, the story behind that play is Quan's standing there, and the Masters, the low guy right below him, and as we're shooting a free throw, they already had something they were trying to do. So I think for whatever reason, Hunter airballed the shot right before that, but this guy's expecting the ball to go through the net, and so I think they had something they were going to try to do where he was going to grab the ball out of the net and throw it ahead.
Okay.
And so that guy's thought process was step under and grab it before they have a chance to get set. So Quan said, he just stepped down to get the ball out of the net, and it just fell right in his hands.
Yeah.
So
talk about that. So to win a single elimination tournament, I don't want to say luck, right? Like you don't want to. It's not luck, but there's a lot of things that have to just go your way,
absolutely,
right? So
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I would love to sit here and say, man, if we ran this back, we'd win it again today. But so many things do have to go your way, and you can go through the entire tournament. I mean, it could have easily ended here against a really good Point Park team.
Yeah, they were really good.
I mean, they played extremely well. The Masters game, I didn't think we played, especially offensively, we really didn't play extremely well that game. We did a great job defensively, but one play, one call, one bounce of the ball goes your way or doesn't go your way, and that's what makes it so special. If it was easy, it wouldn't be nearly as special. But the difficulty of winning a 64-team single elimination tournament, things have got to go your way at times, and guys got to step up and hit shots that maybe they don't typically make, or balls got to bounce your way, or an official makes a call or doesn't make a call. And, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. So let's walk through the end of the Langston game, right? We're down 6. Quan makes 2 free throws. We get the first steal and layup and 1. So now we're down 1. And then we get the trap, and they call their last timeout there. What do you say to the guys in the huddle? Because you haven't had a chance to talk to them, right? So a lot's happened since the last time you did meet with them. What do you say in that huddle?
Well, I mean, we sometimes run this defense, just full court man-to-man defense. It's what it calls that first trap. To be honest with you, I haven't went back and watched the game. Like everything that happened, I've seen like the little highlights and clips, but I haven't watched it. But I remember a little bit previous to that, the biggest message was, hey, just keep your poise. So I think a lot of times you can kind of panic, and all of a sudden you foul when it's unneeded, or you try to take a tough shot when it's unneeded. So at that point, you're just trying to win that possession. You're just trying to figure out how to get a stop or how to get a steal, and then from there it's just play after play. But I can remember that ball being in a corner, and one of the funny things that I say funny, just a fundamental thing in man-to-man press is to stretch toward the ball. If you're man, so Langston puts a player basically underneath the rim. They put a guy on the other end of the floor, and he's standing under the basket, and it's Peyton Law's guy. And so I'm telling Peyton, stretch.
Come closer to the ball.
Keep getting closer. And if they want to throw the ball 104 feet down the floor off of where they were at in that corner, I was going to let them. But, I mean, if you look back on the film, I'm sure, like, Peyton's almost straddling the half-court line and his man's standing underneath the rim. So we were just stretching, trying to make it hard to get it in, and thankfully they threw it right to us.
And that was one of those other things where things just had to go your way, right? Because a lot of teams have pressed and been down and had to foul when they get it across or whatever the plan was there, but we got the steals.
Yeah. And and you got to have some discipline, and you got to be prepared for those moments. You can't coach everything that needs to happen in that moment. So much preparation and time in months and months of practice where, you're working on something that you probably only do 5% of the game maybe, but you might spend 15 minutes of practice a day in it. That preparation pays off sometimes.
Yeah. That's good. When did you, or how did you find out that the baseball team was coming?
Jess texted me. So head coach Jess Trask, he texted me, and I can't remember exactly what the text was. He had called me, and I think we were scouting a game. in the gym, and I texted him. I was like, "I'll call you back," and he wound up just shooting me a text. He was like, "Dude, we're coming to the game." He's like, "We're going to figure it out. What color are you wearing? What, where do we need to go?" And so, I mean, what an unbelievable thing for them to do. And
but he made that plan before the Central Baptist game? When was the...
So I think there was a day in between, and somebody had canceled on him at some time during the season. They needed to pick up a game or two, and he reached out to a team there close by. And I think it was
Kansas,
Tabor. Yeah. And so they were just able to just kind of put something together and say, "Hey, men's team's playing here. We'd love to come play you guys." And, and then the cool thing is, they were supposed to play, we played Monday in the Final Four.
Right.
They were supposed to play Tuesday at noon. We won on Monday. They wound up backing up the Tuesday game to Wednesday. And I talked to some of those guys and said, "Man, we didn't play very well on Wednesday." I said, "Well, you used a lot of emotion and energy those 2 previous days." But what a cool experience for them. And honestly, those guys, I mean, they had a lot to do with just the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, them being there and, our guys sitting there in tough conditions, looking over there and having, their friends and guys that have cheered them on all season to be right there, arm's reach away, cheering them on. It definitely made a difference in the game.
And especially with the crowd too, because I'm sure Langston's very close to Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
So there was probably a very pro Langston crowd.
Yeah, they they brought their band. They had cheerleaders. They had a good number of people there, but I don't know that they were louder than our guys and our families. We had a lot of families obviously that traveled, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so talk one more time. I know we talk about this maybe every time we've done this, but the unselfishness of your team and the way where it seemed like nobody ever cares who scored, right?
Yeah.
We're going to do this in just a minute, but we played 6 games in the national tournament.
I'm gonna get all your quick facts wrong. Okay. I can go ahead I don't even look at the box scores after the game right now.
But you had 5 different leading scorers in 6 games. So just talk more about the unselfishness of your team and how it just seemed like no one cared who scored.
Yeah, and really that's what makes winning this championship. I mean, I think it's special no matter how you accomplish it. But I think when you accomplish it with this group of guys and the way that we've went about it for the last 5 years, and not that we've always gotten it right, but we just got the right group right now. 14 out of the 16 guys that are on our roster are guys that we recruited out of high school. I call them homegrown guys.
Yeah.
I heard somebody use that phrase. That's pretty cool. But to do it with that group of guys that have bought into the vision and the culture that we've tried to cultivate over the last 5 years just makes it special. And I think you use the phrase that guys don't care. Naturally you care.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. Naturally you want to play well individually. We all do.
Right.
As a coach you want to make the right calls. But there's never that selfishness or that feeling of, man, I wish that would have been my moment. And it's because of the relationships these guys have with each other. Even in the moments where maybe they don't, individually play well or take the big shot, that's their best friend. Sam Powell, you just think through all these names like Sam Powell, he hits 4 threes in the Grace game and just was unconscious. And you got Devin Tomlinson, who's at the same position as him. He's the first guy up off the bench cheering for him, screaming. So that's fun to see. JJ and Quan, obviously, 2 leading scorers, guys that don't play a lot together, but they're their biggest fans. When you see JJ,
I see them together on campus all the time. They're best friends. Yeah.
And they realize. I think the other big part of that is they realize they need each other. As a team. Yeah. Because in reality, I know Quan was first team All-American this year, but it was, he's a great player. But in large part, that was probably because of the success our team had.
Yeah.
But just individually, if you look through our roster, there's not that one guy where you're like, man, that guy's he's a different level player. We just got a bunch of really good players that play well together, and I couldn't be prouder of how we've accomplished it.
Yeah, and you made the point. I don't mean to sound like the players but your guys really embody I want to play well so we can win.
Sure.
I don't want to play well so that I get some glory or whatever.
That's right. And you look at the retention of our team and us bringing everybody back, basically every year. We haven't had a player in recent years, last 2-3 years, and we've had players, have Division I offers, coaches reaching out to them that, they're at Freed-Hardeman and, an in-state schools reaching out to them saying, hey, would you like to come play here? And they decide to stay here and continue playing with their best friends. And, so they truly have bought into that culture. And, I think it's paid off.
That's awesome. All right, so you mentioned it. You're not going to do well, you said, but I don't have a bunch of quick facts. I just wanted to remember the stat line this time will just be every leading scorer from the 6 games and how many points they scored. So
I'm going to be probably 0 for 6. To be honest
That's fine. All right, so we'll start. We have Loyola.
Man, it seems like a year ago.
That's so long.
Man. I'm going to be terrible at this. I have no idea. I'll just take a safe guess and say Quan Lax.
He'll be a safe guess for later in this.
Okay.
But no, the Loyola was Hunter.
Okay.
I think
that's right.
Hunter had 18
high
or 19.
Close to it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at my notes. It was 15. Yeah,
okay.
Close to career high for him. So, all right. So Point Park.
Geraldo. I will get that one right.
Geraldo had 26.
He was with me last night, and I said the way they guarded him. The statement I made to him was, man, they picked the wrong guy. You don't need to guard him that way. And so, he had 26.
Because they sagged off and just let him get a run and start at the rim.
Run and start, and he's a really good mid-range shooter.
Right.
And so they gapped him, and he hit some mid-range shots. But he's comfortable in that setting, and I was super happy for him.
Okay, so then the Masters.
69-68. That's one of the scores I can remember.
That was the closest score.
I'm going to say Quan, since you led me to that earlier.
That one was Quan. He made all the free throws down the stretch.
Yeah, didn't put the ball in the basket very well that game, but he made some free throws. What do you have, 19? 18.
Yeah. And then Central Baptist. This is where there was a tie. So.
Sam Powell, was he one of the leading scorers?
Sam had 12.
Okay.
And Quan tied him again. Quan had 12 in that game as well. All right, Grace.
Was Grace JJ?
Grace was JJ's 20, yeah, because Quan was in foul trouble and didn't feel good, whatever, and so.
He stepped up big time, and they had a hard time guarding him that game.
And JJ made all the free throws down the stretch of that one too.
He did.
And then Langston.
What's crazy is in this national championship game, I couldn't tell you who led us in scoring. I know.
But that's what we say about your team, right? Like that's what we were just talking about.
I could not tell you. I would guess Quan, but it
was Quan again. So Quan was the only repeat on there a few times, but you had Hunter, Geraldo. This because I was keeping up with it as it went. I was like, there's no way we're going to play 6 games and have 6 different leading scorers. But it was, it was Hunter, Geraldo, Quan, Sam. JJ, Quan tied Sam, the other one, then Quan at the end there.
That's cool. That's cool.
That was, I don't know how many, ESPN needs to get on this, I guess. I don't know how many champions or NAIA, whatever level, won 6 games with that many different leading scorers.
It would be pretty rare, I think.
So, well, we really appreciate you taking the time. And I know, I'm going to cut this out too, but just already back to where I felt like Nick Saban was texting me when I was like, hey, when can we do this? And you're like, well, we got our visits coming up this week. We're already recruiting for next year. So the life of a coach never stops.
It does not.
So
that's correct.
We really appreciate you taking the time. And we hope all the fans out there get a chance to see Drew at the gas station and tell him congratulations.
We'll be at Party at the Green on Saturday making music. So Chris Ramey texted me about that. But if you haven't had a chance to stop by, a handful of our players will be there from 4 to 6 in front of the bell tower. So we would love to, I went to Lads Leaders last weekend. That was a really cool experience. I would love for our players to have that same experience where alumni and fans are able to stop by and see them face to face and really show their appreciation.
Yeah, so Lions fans, Party at the Green this Saturday, 4 to 6, men's basketball. Some players and Coach Stutts will be out there. We hope to see you guys there. That'll do it for another edition of the Coaches Show. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We know you've been doing this a lot probably lately, and thanks for giving us a little bit of your time, and we'll let you get back to work.
Awesome, appreciate it.